Thank you very much, Ali Mivule there, who is on the ground for that update on that event where reproductive health services are, of course, at the forefront. We do hope the best possible portfolio of services and products can be rolled out for the young population out there to avoid the specter of pregnancies and, of course, inability to access that is experienced by some of our young girls. Now, let's return to studio and get on to our Kickstarter discussion, musicians associations and what that means for the industry. The latest is the formation of the Uganda National Musicians Federation. That's about a few weeks ago. That came with a lot of questions, contestations, and the politics of the day has again reared its ugly head within the industry. Some are saying it is needed to be able to counter what could not be going right in terms of the issues that many of the artists have raised in the recent past. That is something we are going to look forward to understanding as we are joined here in the studio by seasoned art journalist rather, Andrew Kaggwa. Many thanks for making it. And we also have with us Eddy Ssendi, a music analyst and one of the leading actors in the game. First and foremost, yeah, it's a game, by the way. Many times, even the banking industry, many see it as, but it's a game.
True.
There's a lot of playing here and there. Before we go to the nitty-gritty of the associations and stuff like that, before we came on air for this particular Kickstarter, we were saying guys who did MDD, music, dance and drama, shouldn't be worrying about whether the course is expired or not, because for them the knowledge is easily transferable. They are doing the music. You're not going to go on stage if you've gone to a concert and like, hey, first come here, let me see your degree. Eh? Or ask somebody, where did you study singing? No, you won't do that.
Which year?
Which year? Absolutely. So for them, they are off the hook. When you look at that and juxtapose it with what's going on in the country, I know it's not your docket, you shouldn't be discussing this, but what do you make of developments like these? About
expired degrees?
Expired courses and stuff like that?
Okay, it is very unfortunate and very, very embarrassing.
Sure.
And I wish heads could roll because I'm sure somebody is sleeping on their head. Rather, somebody is sleeping on the job, sorry. Somebody is sleeping on the job.
Yeah.
The worst bit of it all is that Chambogo University has the highest number. Actually, they're not expired per se. I think they are not accredited.
Yes. Somebody, yeah. The reassessment.
The accreditation expired.
The accreditation expired. But the Vice Chancellor of Chambogo University, which in the whole country has the highest number of unaccredited courses, is the chairman of the board of the National Council for Higher Education, responsible for accrediting the courses. I'm not being personal, good, I don't know him, I've never met him, but if I had authority, I would sack him for sleeping on the job.
Kaggwa.
No, I actually think heads should actually roll.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I kept thinking about when this started coming out was, did we need an external force to actually realize this? Like, what have we been thinking all along? Like, when we've been continuously probably admitting students, graduating them, well knowing that their courses are not accredited. Like, it's a shame.
Tuition fees.
Yeah, hiking tuition fees, well knowing these courses are not accredited.
Well, it is a country we're living in. In the arts industry, you have the ability to do scripts about this and perhaps tell the story a little bit more. One thing I know about the arts industry is that its ability to allow the nation to laugh at itself, reflect on the issues of the day. But here we are, the industry itself is in a dilemma. Yeah. Associations, federations, we are now going to be looking at cliques. By the time we know, perhaps the mafia will also be part of the arrangement. The latest formation of the Uganda National Musicians Federation, that was a few weeks ago. It made a lot of news.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not for the aspirations in terms of goals and objectives, but again, it was down to contestation and, you know, and politics. First, bring us up to speed with what that means. A federation that is countering the powers of an association. The English alone kind of fails us.
Thank you, Chris. For the benefit of the listeners or the viewers, actually, a federation is supposed to be a superior body made up of associations. There must be associations that federate to form a federation. Just like we have FUFA. It's a federation
of football associations.
There are several. Okay. We have the born again Christians have a federation, and below there are several associations.
Yeah.
Now, this is a new one, a first of its kind, where a federation came into place before, without the associations. But
federation came into place without federating.
But I have had an interaction with the guys at the federation, and they are saying the end will justify the means. So among what they are doing is they are getting to the associations now. It's a first of its kind that somebody has put up a roof without a foundation. That is how you can look at it. But the guys are very confident. They are getting the pillars and everything.
The mabati is in the air there.
Yeah, the mabati is in the air.
We can see.
Okay. The foundation is not there, but it's going to be put in place. But on the other side, having said that, it is the first of its kind in so many ways. I have not seen musicians coming together in such a big force for the first time in the past 30 years plus. Especially, we've always had situations where the young Turks come together. Then there was a situation we once had, the Musicians Union, which had the likes of Frank Ambalire, who might be its life president, Moses Matovu, you know.
Yeah.
Then at one point we had the middle-aged guys coming together, Musicians Forum Foundation, MFF. I remember the initials, I don't remember the wording. MFF, which had Richard Kawesa, Isaac Aruchi. Actually, I was there as well.
Okay. He does not remember what he was part of.
MFF.
I know.
You know?
Interesting.
So then we had Federation of Performing Artists of Uganda, headed by my elder brother Ruben Chibuka.
So wait, the Federation of Performing Artists of Uganda, did it have associations under it?
Yes, it did.
Oh.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
It had theater, it had drama, it had dance, it had, several. And that is why it had people like James Wasula, it had Ronald Mainja, it had Mariam Ndagire, it had Katolu Bwama, I think Annette Nanduja, kind of, it had people from different associations. So, but this time around, we have the whole array of Moses Matov there, Fred Sabata there, Jose Chameleon, Shiba Karungi.
What I hear and the takeaway from your submission is that there is a wave that people must pay attention to, and that wave has perhaps given legitimacy to the Uganda National Musicians Federation. You're monitoring these things.
Yeah. I do not even like where you want to go, but
I mean, he has just told you that he has never seen the kind of momentum that has brought together a whole array of artists in all their various states into a collective entity, and they want to drive something. That means what has been going on, there is an agreement that there is a lot that is wrong. And perhaps this new vehicle seems to be very attractive for just about a greater number of people.
You see, the thing about many of artists is that they are very secretive. They do not really tell you what's going on. Regardless of how much you try to press, they will tell you what they want you to hear. So most of the
they are
times,
politicians.
most of the times I've been asking them about the federation, I think the one thing that comes out and they do not even explain it, or they tell us, we need a copyright law, and you're like, but we do have one. I think there was a time I was engaging Palazzo, and he was like, our copyright law is outdated. It was passed in 1959. And I told him it was passed in 2006.
Oh, yeah.
It was actually tabled by Jacob Olanya. And then he was like, okay, even if it was passed in 2006, those are very many years ago. We need to revisit it. So one of the things I've seen is everyone is talking about copyright, but many of them do not even seem to understand what exactly is wrong with what we have at the moment. They do not know what needs to be changed, but it's the one thing.
And you really can't blame many, because the music they do is not born out of instructional knowledge, as in they've gone to a school and studied knowledge. These are boys who are coming up because they have the vocal ability, and they have the passion, and they're able to string together a few lyrics, and then music begins. So copyright is something, is an arrangement they must find in place in order to do their business.
You see, Uganda is unique in a way, and it's actually not just music. It's unique across the board, be it theatre, because we inherited our theatre from the British, yet we had our communal theatre, which we kind of abandoned. So that's why at the moment you have the likes of people that do different theatre. The national theatre, like, is too English in a way, and then the likes of people that do theatre at Bat Valley, which most of the people like. It's like they are two different, but they coexist.
Yeah, they coexist.
So it's the same thing even with the music, that most of the countries we keep looking at, and they're like, those countries are organized. There are countries that have been organized by record labels, and in Uganda, artists are literally very independent. Most of them are independent, which means that at times even associating becomes hard, because in places where record labels are the ones associating, these are business minds coming together, and they know what can work for their business. When creatives come together and try to push something, they will always fight, they will always disagree. There's someone out there who is a vocalist, and they believe rappers are not singers. And so they end up in a room with a rapper, and they're looking at, like, these guys are masqueraders. And so, like, and then you must work together to make things happen.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's even going to be so hard for many of them to probably agree on anything.
No. Andrew.
Take it on.
Well,
Take it on.
The thing is, just like I said, it's the first time so many musicians have come together. Sincerely speaking, I'm in support of the new formation.
You're in support of federating?
Yes, of federating. Regardless of the way it has come up. And if the energy and vigor and all what they're talking about right now, if they stick to it, it's going to be a very, very, very good initiative in support of the arts industry. Because there are things I have said 8-10 years ago, and I was misunderstood, but right now I've heard them speak about it. Point in case, I've always told musicians to join Uganda Performing Rights Society. It's a collecting society for their royalties.
Yeah.
But they've instead been fighting it. And when a creative or a musician or a producer or a singer or a songwriter fights the collecting society, when that collecting society goes to Chris's restaurant and says, we've come to collect royalties because you use music, Chris is easy to say, but the other day musician X said he is not your member, he doesn't recognize you. So what are you collecting for? Whom are you collecting for? Do you understand? Now, they have come up and said we should join UPRS, and then while within UPRS, lobby for government support, and as well influence decisions. And I'll give you an example. UPRS, one of the challenges that they have, they recently collected 247 million. It is a lot of money. But they have no mechanism of distributing this money to their members. They don't know. They have collected the money. Now, how to split it, they don't know.
What was the framework for collecting the money?
They would go to Chris's restaurant and pick money. Then they go to Andrew's bar.
Pick money on what premise? For example,
that you are using,
because the restaurant has played that music, and the restaurant has identified the music that,
like,
it's simply
the law says the moment you are using music
of a particular artist.
No,
using music
generally.
Generally, they will come and assess you and say your place is this size, it works this many days, it has the capacity of about this many people, and definitely you need music 24/7, so you should pay this much. I will add the word negotiable.
Negotiable.
So they collected the money. And they are stranded with the money, they don't know what to do. And this is where technology has come in to help them with the use of Songboost. It's an app which helps to monitor musicians where their music plays. Now, UPRS, the musicians have come to realize, because they are using the app to monitor their music on both radio and TV. And it gives them real-time notifications. So they've come to realize that actually they should push UPRS to make use of Songboost to help UPRS know whose music was played where, and that information is used to know how much money should go to Chris for his song ABC played this many times, and how much money should go to Andrew for his song XYZ played this many times. Now, the moment you hear musicians starting to talk in that direction, it is very good news, because it's been unheard of.
Okay.
The only challenge is if they will walk the talk.
You've been in it. You are one who understands what is not working and why it is not working, But somehow, either you are not afforded the powers or the tools or even allowed within the corridors of power to effect some bit of change. I do not know exactly where the problem is. But when you look at the formation of this new federation, it's coming with a lot of pomp. And there's a voice, there are voices behind it that have given other people hope, including yourself, Mr. Ssendi, that it's about time that the issues are resolved. But allow me begin with Mr. Kaggwa. When you look at management of music and the music or the products that come out from creatives across board, the formation of a federation is not going to change the fundamentals.
Personally, that's what I think.
It's not going to change the fundamentals.
Like I said, personally, that's what I think, because truth is, at the end of the day, music is about you. And the one thing that I hate about Uganda is that most of the times when we have associations coming up, the people that are making the music we are listening to of the time, most of those times, are usually not anywhere close to the associations. I don't even know why that's the case. But most of the times, there is a way it kind of looks like people came together to kind of feel relevant. I do not want that to be the case with this. Why I believe it might not save a lot, like I said earlier, like creatives are very different naturally. That at times you need the people that are above them to actually make such things run. Because yes, other industries are actually organized. Other industries have associations or have federations, but most of these are not even made up of artists. Like there was a time I met a lady who is leading one of the bodies in Nigeria. She has actually never composed a song, but she has worked with the industry for a very long time. Personally, I believe people that are money-minded, the promoters, probably people that are managing labels, much as they are not artists, for some reason they have the best interests for the industry. And they can speak when they are thinking about the artist, but they are still thinking about the music business as a whole. So personally, I think those can...
In other words, they bring to the table a 360-degree view, not the individual artist who is not actually thinking of anything beyond himself or herself.
Because at the moment, I do not know what these artists are thinking about, but there are more chances that this is more about me than him or the entire industry. That's the reason why even you see when they were forming it, it was easy for people to walk out, because probably you've seen someone you don't agree with. Yet if it was at a level of labels probably coming together, when it's business, like someone at Swangs can know that if this works, however much I do not talk to label X, like if it works, we all win.
We all win.
When it comes to individuals dealing together, like things of egos and everything come in, I'm better than you. Like remember, some people couldn't join UMA because of the president. Like someone is thinking, how can I go and join UMA and I be under Ssendi when I'm better than her? And even Ssendi herself, when she was talking at times, she would say, oh yeah, inakaimba. There was a time we did a debate with them, and one of the aspirants was Lord Bitem. Like personally, I had no idea of who Bitem was.
I met him 2 weeks ago as well. I had never met him before.
Okay.
And I remember one of the things that came up when we were talking to them was the whole thing that most of them did not know who he was. Like their issue wasn't the fact that he couldn't run the association or the ideas he had. Their issue was he never had a hit. So when it comes to what is running places like this, probably it could be the wrong one. They need the right people that are in for the business and the development part of it.
We have a convert in Mr. Eddy Ssendi, and I don't think the Uganda National Musicians Federation will do a lot of preaching to you, but when it comes to the issues that have bedeviled the association and the industry for years, have these guys provided a management blueprint? Do we have a strategic paper that these guys are going to follow? For example, before we returned from the break, you were giving us an overview about the Uganda Manufacturers Association. Interestingly, it shares the acronym UMA. I think it's something that should inspire the music industry to manage matters the way UMA, Uganda Management Association, does. Just give us what you think could be the copy and paste that these guys could take on.
Thank you, Chris. What I would advise these guys to do is to benchmark with an already established setup. In the early 80s, manufacturers came together. And these were the likes of the late Mukwano, the late James Murwana, Professor, His Excellency, Sir, you know, he has many titles, Gordon Wavamuno, okay, and others. When they came back together to form the Uganda Manufacturers Association, they realized that much as they are successful businessmen and manufacturers, they didn't have enough knowledge in running an association. So they engaged a management team headed by an executive director. Not just executive director by the title, but in the real sense. And you can imagine we've had several executive directors of the Uganda Manufacturers Association, and one of them is currently is currently a commissioner with the Electoral Commission. Just to show you the level of who the UMA ED was, that he's
a commissioner with this.
He's a commissioner at the Electoral Commission. You know, he's one of the commissioners there. So what the federation this time, or the musicians this time, need to do is they should agree and say, you know what, let's appoint a management team with experts in administration, in intellectual properties, okay, basically a lawyer with intellectual properties knowledge, serious finance people, okay, and whatever they can choose. Now, the board headed by Eddy Kenzo remains at the policy level, and the management team does the legwork legally and professionally. Because I once had an interaction with a treasurer of Uganda Manufacturers Association, live on air.
Manufacturers.
Sorry, Uganda Musicians Association. Okay.
Yeah, the acronym we can understand.
Yes.
The acronym is UMA.
Yeah. But this time around we are talking about the musicians.
Yeah.
I dared him to draw me a balance sheet and show which side has credit, which side has debit, and where you put the totals and the balance. And he couldn't.
But it was the treasurer.
Okay. So
all right.
if they could get serious, that's why I said that I support the federation. My only prayer is if they walk the talk.
Andrew, let's be very pragmatic in trying to help, because by being able to amplify this issue on Morning at NTV, like a media player, we are doing pretty much very critical work. Let's try to guide the Uganda National Musicians Federation on the way forward, especially in light of the suggestion that has been brought by Eddy Ssendi. Where would you begin?
I think the very first
Are they even willing to sit and listen to that?
now that's the other problem, but it's
okay.
That's totally their problem.
That's their problem.
Yeah, that's totally their problem. But of course, before they even get into that, they should start by being legal, like doing a federation in the right way.
Would you suspect they haven't taken care of that? The legality
at least at the moment, it doesn't look like so. And that at the moment, when you come out and you're forming a federation of musicians, one of the things we're asking ourselves is how many associations are you bringing together?
How many are on board?
Because
do you have a constitution?
We might be so sure of UMA, but
did they unveil one at the formation?
Who are the other associations?
Did they unveil a constitution?
There was they voted.
All right.
Okay, anyway, very first things first.
So let me answer you. There's no constitution, there is no policy statement, there is nothing. But everything is being worked on. It's just like I said, the roof is in place, and the pillars are being put up at very fast speed.
Let me ask this question. When you hear, because one thing I'm seeing is that there is a lot of the Eddy Kenzos of this world, Shiba Karungi, are very vocal and have made their name in the music industry. But the arts industry has other subsections that have, I'm sure, been managing themselves pretty well. That can be a source of a benchmark or a blueprint for UNMF. Do we know of any subsector within the industry that seems to be managing matters well?
In Uganda?
Yeah. Just look around. Don't worry about the...
Probably I could...
Not in
silence.
Uganda.
You can use 30 seconds and think.
Probably I can talk about Uvada, but it also has its own challenges.
What is Uvada?
Uvada is the Uganda Visual Arts and Designers Association that has sculptors, painters,
never heard about
the likes. They have their own issues, but somehow they look like a body that is kind of recognized even outside Uganda. Like it's easier to get to an exhibition out of Uganda when you're a member.
When you remember.
Yeah, so like I really appreciate what they've done with that, but they have a lot of issues themselves. But I think there are people they can try to talk to as they talk to outsiders mostly.
All right.
Because people outside Uganda have done really, really well when it comes to associations and how to deal with them.
Gentlemen, what I see is momentum. I see impetus. I see a wave. Now, many people say when a time for an idea has come, it's pretty much important that you agree and then work around it so that you can improve it. I hope that you're going to be lending your expertise, experience, and advice to the Uganda National Musicians Federation. I don't want to hear, after 3 months, that Mr. Ssendi also involved in ego battles.
No, what I want to say is that...
last word, yeah.
My last word is I hope and pray that the Federation team, the interim committee, walks the talk. And their biggest problem is finding a solution to all the musicians to be able to earn a living without stepping on stage. That is their primary goal.
Yeah.
They have the ability, and I will again call upon government to come in and assist, not with handouts, but it's a matter of putting in place or enforcing the current laws.
Talking of handouts, 30 seconds, Andrew Kaggwa, what the name of General Saleh still came up during that process of the voting. I don't know why.
No. Leave that out, but yes, I know it came out. But just to add on what he says, yeah, they should. I think one of the most important things is empowering UPRS. Like the moment UPRS works, the industry will benefit.
Yeah.
But the problem is that most of the artists that are even complaining about copyright are not even members of UPRS or any collecting society. Like
I had, sorry to cut you short, no. I had Eddy Kenzo personally saying we should join UPRS in big numbers, and we move, we make things, we fight from within.
From within.
Yeah.
Eddy, Ssendi, many thanks for the perspective. It's always a pleasure having your company on Morning at NTV. And many thanks to you to Andrew Kaggwa, seasoned arts journalist. I'll be personally telling you to go and do more, I don't know, excavation of what the UNMF is doing, so that next Friday, if we can come back here and do a reassessment. That will do it for Morning at NTV. It's been a pleasure having your company on behalf of my colleague, Priscilla Regina Naloga, and indeed the entire team behind the scenes that ensured this week was smooth. It's a thank you all the days that we are here. It will do it for this week, but I'm looking forward to seeing you on Monday. For those that have time on Sunday, do pass by Wankulukoko Stadium for a media derby. NTV Uganda will be thrashing Uganda Broadcasting Corporation in a football game.